It's been a bad week for right-wingers, from the richest man in the world to the shortest man in Luton, from the leader of the free world to the king of the coconuts. It's been a rough time for all those who hate anyone getting on a boat to seek help or anyone getting on a boat to give help. Right-wingers across America and Europe were left in tears over the last week as mummy and daddy had a big fight. For the rest of us, it was the funniest thing we'd seen right-wingers do since Anthony's roulette. Elon versus Trump. Autism versus narcissism. White people's you are fucking. America's Peggy Mitchell versus Pat Butcher. It wasn't supposed to be like this. This was the match made in Epstein's enclave. Allegedly. Where and why did it all go wrong? Let's go back a bit. Elon Musk is essentially a self-serving techno-libertarian who believes in total free speech, basically deregulation of technology and the internet, and the freedom to call me a paki online and on the street. In his defense, he is a free speech absolutist, unless it's insulting him. His skin is as thin as his principles. He became increasingly frustrated at the Democrats over what he saw as curbing of free speech and increased regulation. So he went all in on Trump because they had some crossover of ideas and frankly because Trump is easy to buy. Elon Musk donated an eye-watering £200 million, basically one whole 2016 Neymar. Imagine. To Donald Trump and the Republicans to help them win the election and bag himself a job in the new administration in the process. Not corrupt or dodgy at all. So far so good, except much how like Wormtongue wasn't the only one in Sorryman's ear, Trump started doing stuff that Elon didn't love so much, like the tariffs, and then most recently the big spending bill, which did all sorts of boring stuff like help the rich get richer, standard Trump stuff. Elon started voicing some of these concerns publicly, and then 2 weeks ago, in a coincidence of timing, Elon left his dodgy job because his agreed time was up, and definitely not to go and concentrate on his businesses, which had begun to tank quicker than you can say upside down Nazi salute, and definitely not to go to look after any of his 12 kids. One of them is called Techno Mechanicus, which sounds like Harry Potter putting a spell on a transformer. What followed was a series of back and forth tweets between Trump and Elon, ending their 15-month love affair. The maddest in all of the exchanges though was this tweet which alleges that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. Basically, Elon accused Trump of having sex with underage girls on Epstein's infamous island. Which has to beg the question, like a perverse Captain America Civil War, if you knew this Elon, why did you work to get him elected? Weirdly, Elon's first overtures to Trump started last February 2024. Was that possibly how you first started chatting to him, Elon? Did you send Trump a card on 14th of February last year? Dear Donald, will you be my paedophile? It wasn't only in the US where right-wingers were clutching their rent boys. At home, tech multi-millionaire, British Sri Lankan Muslim, and oxymoronically, the biggest monetary donor to reform, Zia Yusuf resigned as a chairman of the Reform Party. A job he was as suited to as a paper umbrella is to a storm, a pigeon among the cats, a sole galaxy minstrel in a universe of Milky Bar buttons. He fell out with his party because they said stuff everyone thought they thought. When he objected, he received a barrage of racial abuse, showing him that he was as welcome in reform as a pig in a synagogue. Or mosque, to be fair. But then a few days later, like my unwelcome Russell hairs, the bounty bounced back. This time appointed to do reform's dodgy work. Truly a corner shop Elon Musk. Did I say corner shop because he's Asian? Yes. Yes, I did. And on the subject of corner shops, Luton's all-time GOAT right-winger Tommy 10 Names Robinson got thrown out of a restaurant in central London last week for being a knob. He was furious. The English Hezbollah took to his social media to complain and encourage all his followers to boycott the restaurant chain and leave them negative reviews online. It's funny because Tommy's followers were outraged by his treatment by this restaurant, but they were largely the same people that cheered when Keir Starmer got thrown out of a pub by his angry landlord last year. In fact, supremacist Smurf even applauded Jeremy Clarkson when the latter preemptively barred Keir Starmer from ever coming to his new pub. It seems like right-wingers don't like it Upham, but what's good for the goose has to be good for the racist. It's not all bad though, right-wingers. You have one role model left to look up to. Young, cocky, tramples all over immigrants, and I'm not talking about right-wing punch-drunk Conor McGregor, who got absolutely bodied this week when he came for Game of Thrones star and activist Liam Cunningham, who tweeted in support of the flotilla Madeleine that was headed for Gaza and which was intercepted by the Israelis. You know, the one that Greta Thunberg was on, truly proving that autism really is on a spectrum. Anyway, Uncle Liam tweeted in support of the kidnapped vessel. Then Connor said to him, I thought you were on this boat. What happened? You forgot your goggles? Got seasick? Bottler. Then Uncle Liam replied with, didn't know you could read or write, Connor. Thought you used your hands to tap out. Oi. Someone called the police. There's been a murder. Toba. And then Connor deleted his post. He tapped out. Oh, the shame. No, that's not the young cocky tramples all over immigrants on a weekly basis guy I'm talking about. I'm referring to, of course, Lamine Yamal. Look, he might not always win, but like all successful European right-wingers before him, he loves humiliating the French. If you're gonna salute anyone, salute Lamine Yamal Nasrui Abana. Not so much this, more this. Follow, like, subscribe for more. See you next week.